Hey everyone, welcome back to Folklore. We're almost at the end of the marathon of quests. It's in sight, we're on the last couple, and I think most of these are actually pretty significant. Like this one, where we're going to learn Belgae's story. Yeah, we're kind of familiar with that objective by now. That is, of course, until we defeated her. So we gotta make our way through the corridor to the far side where the ancient henge is. And honestly, I don't think anything has changed here from the way it is in the actual realm. So we got some thrumping to fight our way through. Of course, we need to kill as many of these as possible with Scarab. It's not that bad, really. Pretty effective. Takes a while to kill them if I haven't softened them up first. But I think it's definitely getting the job done. And everything else we can just take down with whatever folks we've got equipped. And regrettably, I think this is still going to leave me one thrumpin' short, but there should be more later on. And actually, I don't know if I need to kill everything here. I did need to score some just random kills with a Lanodite, I think. But we'll get around to those later. No real surprises here so far. And good old Padfoots. They never change. Couldn't kill them with a Lanodite even if I remembered I needed to. They're immune to slash. And I think everything except non-elemental. And I actually managed to choose the wrong path, I think. I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but the Endless Corridor gets really confusing because each character has their own path they've got to take. If you forget which door you got to go through with which character, you may find yourself repeating stuff, but at least in this one I don't have to fight my way out of the dead ends. It is kind of embarrassing, though. I really should remember this by now. Oh well, more folks to fight, more things to capture, potentially more experience. You never know. I could actually get a rank by the end of this thing. Alanodite, kinda showing its weakness. It's not a very strong folk yet. But it'll get there eventually. We've got more karmas to build up. And I don't think I'm doing the rooms in the same order that I did when I went through the corridor the first time. That, and I don't always remember which door I'm supposed to go through. This one, I think, is the one at the very far end of the room. And there, more thrumpin'. Let's go ahead and get that last kill I need with Scarab. I don't know why I thought I was closer to 15 than I actually was. But there we are. Just one karma left for Scarab, and I'm not going to be able to get it here. Need to go to Hellrealm for it. So I guess the trick here is that it's actually not the same doors I needed to go through. Or if it is, my memory's really, really bad. But this was certainly the door I took to get out of that room. And we've made it to the far end of the maze. Wasn't too bad. But there are 3 crystals here. What's the deal with those? And I assume I can't just hit those crystals with my folks. I'm going to have to go through this door and find some other way to remove the seals. This, of course, is where the real quest starts. Of course, there's no way to save here. Three doors, three tough folks. Well, I think we kind of have to do this. Not only is it part of the quest, but we know Moralta Balta is only vulnerable to sleep and charm. So, shouldn't be too difficult to fight. We've got one Padfoot in the middle, which is no more, and then two Gallybeggar and one Spriggan. I guess it's more folks than we've fought at most times in the past. At least at once. But nothing we can't handle by now. Keep on the move, use Barrage to press him back. And unfortunately, I probably won't be able to get off a beat capture in time. Might be able to deal with Spriggan using our slash element in need of kills, though. The only problem is, I don't know how many hits it's going to take, and I've had issues killing Spriggan with slash elements before. Well, now that I think about it, that was more destroy element, wasn't it? Still, they recover annoyingly quickly. So rather than worry about it too much, I'm just going to go ahead and capture him. I mean, this isn't really a mandatory part of the quest. This is just so that I can see Moralta Balta's stamina meter while I'm fighting. And the worst part of it is, it's not really going to help. We've got some life drops sitting around. Technically I don't need them because I can just go back to the save portal and recover all my health. Possibly a bit of a fourth wall break, but it's understandable. We do need to understand the mechanics of this fight in order to do any good at it. So, Moralta Balta is surrounded by a whole bunch of Belgae, which respawn whenever I kill or capture them. I don't know whether more of them are going to spawn in, or whether it's just keeping 4 of them in the screen at once. We'll have to count them and see. Meanwhile, you've probably already figured out what Moralta Balta's special weakness is. I didn't. I will swear to you, I went through this entire fight trying every element, noticing that none of them did much damage to it, and never even watched the meter as I captured the Belgae that were all around it. Which is its weakness, believe it or not. I mean, yeah, you can damage it with other attacks, but particularly once I realized the Belgae were respawning, I figured, okay, there's no end to them. Capturing them isn't doing me any good, so I'll just ignore them and focus on the boss. When really, it was the Belgae that I needed to focus on the whole time. This is one of those cases where doing a practice run might have helped, but you saw how many quests there are for this chapter. I didn't really want to go through all of them twice. At least this gave me a chance to try out a bunch of different folks. And ultimately I do end up capturing a number of the Belgae as I go along, just because they're in the way. But still trying to figure out what the elemental weakness is. When you've noticed by now that the fairy never said anything about an elemental weakness, just that there's a weakness. And actually it's kind of funny, I assume that if I capture enough Belgae, then Moralta Balta will just drop dead. But it never comes to that because I end up killing it with a couple of attacks from Grab Bag. I guess we'll never know. Alright, well he doesn't have anything to say about my stunning defeat of folk that I couldn't draw the id from. So let's go into the next challenge at half health, shall we? Well, I guess more like 2/3. But the rest of it doesn't seem like it'll be that much of a challenge, it's just a Durandal. We've fought Durandal before. I really just need an ice attack to freeze it, and then a couple of earth attacks of appropriate nature, so that I can hit it whether it's standing still or moving around. From a distance, I can use Colby now to approach it, and then I can charge up an attack from Yarthkins to do a lot of damage. And then the Hinky Punks start appearing. And of course, just like the Belgae in the previous fight, the Hinky Punks are going to keep respawning, and in this case, I don't know whether capturing them will weaken Durandal or not. I'm pretty sure that Durandal is a lot stronger in this fight than it was when I fought it in Hellrealm. But I really have no way to know. I use so many different earth elements, it's really hard to keep track. And this also begins a rather embarrassing trend for the rest of these quests, where I completely fail to realize that while earth attacks are drawing out Durandal's id, they're not really doing all that much damage to it. And in fact, they're probably the worst element to use if you actually just want to kill it. Which I do, because I'm not going to be able to capture it with a couple of Hinky Punks. Or a Hinky Punk and a Kalmia. That's even worse. There will be a punchline to that story too, but we'll get to that in due time. For now, just enjoy a highly sped up version of me attempting to kill a Durandal with attacks that aren't going to kill it anytime soon. Unless I say something ironic. So now we're a little less than half health as I completely forget that there's a recharge portal right behind me. At least this time it shows me all the folks that are going to be in the room right from the start. And Amarillis is something that I've dealt with plenty of times. Since I need to kill it, and I'm not likely to capture it, it's likely that Automata is the best choice here. I guess the only real difference is that I can use Durandal twice on the same MC meter, whereas for Automata I can only use it once. But on the other hand, Agapanthus has always served me well. And Durandal's got a wider spread. If I line everything up just right, I can hit all these folks with one Automata attack. But I think Durandal is easier to hit lots of enemies with. At least for now. Automata will be getting its day. Don't worry. At least the Bugaboo never got to come into play. And again, he says nothing now that I've completed all of the doors. Now I remember there's a health portal. I completed all these quests. I never said I was going to be any good at them. But the door is open, and all we have left to do is learn Belgae's secrets. And, of course, they make us walk through the entire corridor in order to see the end of the story. But, naturally, the rest of it happened in the Divine Sanctuary, so that's where we're going to find the Nema sign. And in honor of that, we get all of 15 warm tree nuts. But once again, the journey in this case was the true reward. And speaking of journeys, next time we'll be finishing a long one. See you then.